So tonight I'm going to start with, I'm on my way in, and of course I got the news on the radio, and it is Fox, because I feel like Fox is the only station that's actually giving me anything close to what's really happening. The last 4 years, you didn't know anything that was happening. And they were like, we would be in, they were raping us basically. All right, so I hear on the radio this guy out west someplace, I think it was in Idaho. He would stab 5 people, killed 5 people, college kids, and he gets 5 consecutive life in prisons, and no death penalty. Now, I'm a firm believer in death penalty. Now, this guy's going to get to live the rest of his life. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, he's in prison. How good can that life be? If you're breathing, it's still a good life. But everything's paid for this guy now for the rest of his life. If he lives to be 100, and he's a young kid, if he gets to live to 100, he's taken care of. Now, whatever happens to him in prison, that's kind of like karma. You kill 5 people and then somebody's going to jump you in prison from behind and make believe you're his girlfriend, then you deserve that. You deserve worse than that. Now, what gets me is you have people that don't believe in the death penalty, no matter what the crime is. That's not right. You can't say, if you're a religious person, you can't say, well, God don't want you to kill those people. Well, that also stands true for the person that did this killing. He doesn't want him to do any killing either. So there's got to be boundaries. This just isn't right. This guy, these 5 families, I got to live with this the rest of their lives, and this guy's going to sit in prison. And it's going to cost lots of money to keep him in prison and to take care of him. Now, if you can honestly say, no matter any political party you may be, or just however religious you may be, if you can believe that he shouldn't be put to death, then what about, you should be out there protesting against abortions, because you're still killing people there too. That doesn't seem to bother a lot of people. They've gotten so used to just killing babies, and yet they'll fight like crazy to keep somebody that killed other people alive, so they give him a life imprisonment. I know he's not going to get out unless some other lawyer, finds a loophole. But anyways, I just want you to think about that. The next time you're going in for an abortion, just think about people that are killing people in the most horrible ways you can possibly think of, and yet they may only get life imprisonment or 30 years in prison or something like that. This isn't right. It's the way it is, and I don't know who you're going to blame for it, but if you would believe in not killing or taking a life, you got to believe it through everything. Not just be picky on, although maybe this one we believe in, this one, no, that got to die, this one, that, whatever. Just think about that. Okay, and then the other thing, New London, well, actually, it's all over Connecticut because they claim the COVID money is running out, and they used it for a lot of different things. One of the things they used it for was school lunches for kids. I don't understand this. The city of New London will spend money on all kinds of things. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
I just had a thing to call into Dennis about. We just realized the Breezeline Channel for this show has changed.
Yes, it has. Yes. It's right now, if you're in New London or Waterford, I don't know if Waterford can, but in New London, unless you have the old cable system, Channel 25, you can't get this. So this show and whatever we talk about, you got through. Where are you calling from?
Oh, it's Deb. We just thought that we lost the channel, and we had to scroll through our guide. So for all the listeners that are Breezeline customers in New London, it's 9002 on the channel guide.
Oh, and you can get it live on 9002?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So for any of the viewers that think they lost it on the old 25 channel, it's 9002.
Yeah, I hear it's, other parts of the county, New London County can still get it, but you got to have that cable coming in your house. That's the only thing.
So anyway, I'm glad you're on.
Oh, I'm glad I'm on too.
All right.
Is there anything you'd like to talk about before you go?
No, I'll just listen.
All righty.
Listening tonight. Thanks.
All right, if I'd say anything that offends you, I deeply apologize.
No, not at all. Thanks.
All right, thank you for calling. All right, so you heard, I guess people can still get this live, which I didn't know, and it's 9002 on your, I don't know, your whatever you got for cable. I'm gonna have to try that when I get home. Okay, where was I? Oh, so the other thing I was saying about New London and the people that are running it, so they're gonna take away school lunches for kids because the COVID money's running out. If you ever could see what they spent that COVID money on, some of the stuff had nothing whatsoever to do with COVID. And the city will spend money on painting a flag on the road for different groups of people. They put up these Christmas tree lights on Bank Street. They got these colored poles coming into the city. They spend a lot of money on things that make you think they don't care about the children and they don't care about seniors. And yet, they, once in a while, they may show themselves that has something to do with those two things, but not very often because I really don't think they care or they don't realize that one day they're going to be old or one day their kids are going to be in school and they're not going to get nothing to eat. And this is going to keep happening unless the people out there do something. I'm one person. I can only do so much. I'm doing the shows to try to get people to listen, but maybe there's a lot of things you aren't aware of. But you have Representative Nolan in New London and in other parts of New London County. You have Martha Marks in New London and other parts. These are our representatives, Democratic representatives. And yet, the only way this is going to stop is you got to be more active, folks, unless you really don't care and it doesn't bother you. But if it does bother you, or you just, don't see it, or it's not advertised what's going on, you got to look for things. You got to call your representatives. You got to call Nolan. You got to call Martha and tell them what you would like to see them do. I mean, they never come around. Nolan does a couple times. Martha Marks, I haven't seen her at all since she got elected. Haven't heard nothing about her. But you folks elected them, and they should be coming to the city and all the other cities they represent, and they should have once a month some kind of a get-together where people can ask questions, can tell them what they'd like to see them do. This way they would know what they need to do to keep their voters and show something that you're doing to help, but you don't see anything. It's going to keep going like this unless more people step up. So I think there's two important things, well, maybe three, that I can think of for New London is taking care of their children, taking care of their homeless, and definitely taking care of their vets. It's to not make those top priorities for any state is just sinful. You have a Democratic Party, you have a Republican Party. They're supposed to work together to better our living, our lives. And right now, you have the Republican Party trying to do that, and you have the Democrat Party that's putting all their time and energy into fighting the administration, our new administration. So how does that help you Democrats out there that voted for these people, Democrats? I mean, they're not doing nothing. What are they doing? And what have they done to make it a better place to live here, or for our veterans, or for our children? I don't see anything. But anyways, that's that. There's another thing going on in, I believe it's just Connecticut, but it's probably everywhere. That lawmakers changes the tax exemption law for disabled veterans. It creates confusion. It shouldn't create any confusion. There should be no question about it, especially if they're disabled. And they got disabled protecting this country and protecting all you fools out there that go with your signs and you stand there protesting something that you can't change. He's there for 4 years, whether you friggin' like it or not. And if you don't like it, Then if anything good comes out of it, like when Biden was sending people all kinds of money, well, if Trump decides to send us some money, don't take it. Because that just makes you a friggin' hypocrite. You know, if you don't believe what he's doing, then don't take anything that comes to you from this administration. All right? I mean, and these people with these signs and stuff, can't you folks out there, especially the Democrats, I know I'm picking on Democrats, but damn it, all I see is nobody from that party that questions anything that goes on in the government Democrat Party. They don't, I see nothing. And no matter what the plan is that they come up with in the last 4 years, nobody seemed to be objecting. And the people that are voting out there, I'm telling you, more and more people are getting to the point where they're just saying, what's the hell of the use of voting? And that's your fault. That's the politicians' fault, because they get in a nice spot and they're making money, and they're making lots of money, the ones that are in the higher government enchilada there, whatever they call it. And they don't care as long as they keep making money. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. Both parties are supposed to have come up with ideas that make it better for us. And they need to be talking to each other to do that. Not the way it is now. You know, you got the president trying to pass a bill that has a lot of good things in it. And there's probably some things that other people don't like. And I can understand one congressman saying that it might cost his state a certain amount of money, something they might not get because of this. I can understand that. And I know for that person to be fighting for his people in his state, good or bad, that's still what you want your congressmen or your politicians to do. That's why you voted for them. Now, there's a lot of things in these bills when they come out that people don't like, but you got to compromise. Democrats say that, well, Republicans aren't compromising with us. Well, what the hell are you showing us now that you're doing? You're doing even worse. I mean, you're like, nothing else is happening in this country except for you trying to get rid of Trump. That's the biggest thing that you want to do. So how are you helping the very people that voted for you? I don't think you are. And the people that voted for him that are of the same party that voted for Biden and the rest of that crew, you should be pissed, because they weren't worried about you. All they wanted was your money to give it all kinds of other places. And I got a list of some of the places that they would spend money on. And now they're freaking out because they might get caught, and a lot of them are getting caught. And yet most of the people I guess they just live their life and, the hell with everything else. But this stuff has a way of coming back and biting you in the ass, big time. All right, so as far as the law, part of it, this law for the veterans was, when the bill first passed in 24, the Office of Federal Analysts estimated that the property tax exemption would apply to approximately 1,209 veterans and result in a $4.9 million loss in tax revenue, equaling to an average benefit of roughly $4,050 for those who qualified. These people went to war, and it wasn't their war. I mean, they're doing what they believe in their heart it was best for the country. So, to say to them that you don't want to take care of them, trust me, the next time we need people to go to war for us, they're going to try to find ways not to go. And I've already seen something about if there's a draft, the different ways that people at different ages will be drafted. You can't not have wars. That's just not in our system. People don't know how to not have a war. We've gotten to the point in this country and other countries out the world that it's money. Everything's money. How much money do you need to be rich and fulfilled? I don't know. I guess if you're going through life and no one's bothering you and you're doing good things and you're taking care of yourself and your family and being courteous to other people, that's all it should be. Not what you see on TV now. So, folks, a lot of you people, Republican and Democrat, that voted for whoever you voted for, don't forget the vets. It's because of them that you were able to vote. It's because of them that you were able to try to feel safe in your states, which is very hard to do now. But those people gave a lot. Some gave their lives, and you all know this. Some gave parts of their body. Some came back so messed up or burnt up, and you're going to argue with them about what they should get? They should get everything free, or pretty close to everything. And if you don't think that, well then, you're going to have the mess you got now, and it's only going to get worse. All right, let's get on a little better subject here for a little bit. I've been seeing a lot of things on my Facebook page about hemp. 1 acre of hemp will equal 4 acres of forest, trees in the forest. It can be grown twice a year. It can be used for everything you can possibly think of. Some people would say to me, well, it might put the farmers out of business. No, if it puts the farmers or the loggers out of business, they can turn around and open up hemp fields and stuff like this. This is like a natural thing. And it's good for almost I'll give you a few examples, as a matter of fact. It says, the paperwork out here says there's 30 things best used for hemp. But trust me, it's a lot more than that. I just took the first one I saw, and it was 30. It's going to be used for paper. We don't need to be cutting down trees for paper and then have to wait another 10 or 20 years for that tree to grow up to where it can be cut down again. This, you go out in the field and you do however you get it out of the ground, and then 6 months later, you do it again. And then the next year again, and then the next year again. And we need these trees to keep our oxygen clean. They don't tell you that, and that's another whole story. It can be used for biofuel. It can be used for bioplastics. You realize, of course, I hope you all do that, plastics, like your water bottle or whatever you got that's made out of plastic, has to be done with oil. I mean, they have to refine the oil and do whatever they do to it, and it makes the plastic. I don't know how many people know that, but you wouldn't have to go through that. It's a good nutrition supplement. It's hemp seed oil for cooking and salad dressing, although I've never tried that. Let's see, skin care, hair care, insulation, animal bedding, gardening mulch, sodium, I can't say that word, ink, I never knew it could be ink, cosmetics, protein powders, hemp milk, beer, beer. Oh my God. I wonder if you can grow hemp in your backyard and make beer. That should get a lot of people interested. Wine, there you go. They can make shoes, bags, jewelry, furniture, automotive interiors, energy storage, animal feed, art supplies, eco-friendly packaging, and that's just a few of the things. So why doesn't one of these people like, I don't know, these multi-billionaires that have all these big businesses like Telsa and the computer guy, Zuckerberg and all them, why don't they invest that? I would. Take the land that China bought from us and take it back and do hemp fields. And don't give it to a company from another country to come in and do the work. That's the one thing that's pissing me off about some of the things New London does. Their water company, it goes to another company, and we pay them to give us clean water. They do donate a lot of money every year, probably close to $1 million. But, and then you got like the community center. It's going to be run by a country outside of Connecticut. Well, I think it's outside of Connecticut. I could be wrong on that part, but it's another country. It's not a company from the city. It's not made up of people from the city. It's some big company that's going to come in and run the place, which means that any profit they make, they keep. All it does for New London is they don't have to dish out the money to run the place. But how many people from New London are going to be working there? Now, they got tax abatements. How does that help us? I mean, there's tax abatements going on in New London where I'm 73, and I'm never going to see the good things from those taxes when the abatements are up. And we've lost at least one big business in Pfizer's because when the abatements were done, they bailed ass. That could happen again. Let's see. So, let me see. Oh, so in Connecticut, July 1st was the start of new bills in Connecticut. So I tried to look up some so I could bring them today to the show, and it's not friggin' easy. And there's so many bills that they passed, and when you look them up, you get no summary, or it turns out to be 10 friggin' pages for one thing. I was looking up the new laws on the marijuana stuff, and most of it concerns the people that are growing it and the people that are selling it and stuff like that. The only way I saw it was affecting the people out there that are buying it is the amount you can buy, because, in Connecticut, you can only get a half ounce, but you can go out to your car and put it in your car and come back in and get another half ounce. So I don't know what the process for that is. If you're going to go to Massachusetts and you can buy an ounce. Walk outside, put it in your vehicle, go back in and get another one. So why these stupid little things? Just make it however much you want to buy. I mean, you're going to come back and buy that anyways over time. All right, so one of the new laws, and this is for you drivers out there. Now listen up, especially you parents with teenagers or kids that don't need to be in a car seat. First, they're gonna, you ever drive down the highway? Oh, let me stick with that one thing first. Cops, when they stop you for whatever reason, and you have people in the back seat that aren't buckled up, you're gonna get in trouble. They're gonna stop pushing that very hard in Connecticut. So, I know a lot of people that sit in back seats and they never buckle up. I never buckled up when I was in a back seat, but now you're taking a chance. Is that a good law or is that a bad law? I guess if you get in an accident and it saves your life, it's a good law. If you don't get in an accident and you get tickets for it, it's not such a good law. But that's minor. They have another one where, how many of you drive down the highway and you pass a car on your right and you're in a left lane and you're going and you just stay in that left lane and keep going? Can't do that no more. They're gonna have it so that they call it camping. Camping, and if a cop follows you or sees you stay in that lane and there's no reason for you to be in that lane, you're gonna get a ticket. And I know this for a fact because my wife almost got a ticket for doing that. I probably shouldn't have said that. Nah, she ain't watching. So that's. I mean, if you get a chance, look them up. I just don't have my computer's acting like a retard right now. So, oops, I'm not supposed to say that word. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Get over it. It's a word. There's a lot worse words. The only reason retarded sounds bad is because you got people out there that have nothing better to do, and a lot of these politicians that they got to come up with some kind of rule and make it look like they're doing something, and they come up with this rule about, that's bad language. You can't say that. You can't say retarded. When I was a young kid, that's what the word was. When you said it, it wasn't like an insult. Some people took it as an insult, yeah, but it wasn't meant as that was the word. Now you got all these different words for all these different things. And you probably get money from the federal government, well, depending on who's in charge, for these different things. Here's a good example. Which countries receive the most money from the United States? Okay. And this is every year, folks. And this is countries that don't like us, that would probably want to kill us. And we still send them money. I guess it's like a payoff or something. But, okay, here's a few. Afghanistan. 1.5 billion for humanitarian assistance. Well, we could use 1.5 billion for some for assistance in this country. Ethiopia, 1.4 billion emergency food assistance. Okay, but are other countries doing it? And if that's really where it's going, a lot of this stuff don't go where it says it's going to go. That U.S. aid, when they found out things about that place, let's see. Jordan, 1.3 billion. Yemen, 1.5 billion. South Sudan, 1 billion. DRC, which I don't even know what that one is, 891 million. Syria, 844 million. Nigeria, 828 million. Colombia, 261 million. And Sudan, 620 million. And they got down here that is, for food, for global health supply chain. And I mean, no one ever checks this, especially in the last administration. They were giving out money like it was a friggin', they were buying people is what they were doing. Because they didn't have the balls to tell them, hey, if you're gonna treat us like this, then we're gonna treat you like this. But anyways, so let me speak a little bit on the Day paper, which used to be the New London Day. The original owner of that years back had some kind of deal set up with the city of New London that the Day paper, or the New London Day at the time, could not leave New London. They couldn't completely bail out of New London. And it was always stay there with that name, I guess. But the Day is slowly moving. They're closing down, they're selling off where they were with these beautiful buildings. I mean, that's one thing New London really has going for it downtown, is they got some really beautiful buildings. I mean, it showed workmanship, and it showed it being done. There was no prefab back then, like there is like on Bank Street now with the prefab. But I lost my train of thought on that one. All right, so the Day paper. They're, of course, a liberal paper, I guess you would say, on the left side. All the government stuff in New London is all on the left side. If you're a Republican in New London, then you pretty much don't exist. They're not going to go out of their way for you unless you're one of their chump buddies. But anyways, it will not print. I haven't seen any kind of printing in the Day paper that shows anything positive that the Trump administration is doing. Nothing. All they do is showing you why it isn't going to work, and they don't even know if it's going to work. It is working in so many different ways. They won't even give him an ounce of credit for anything in his administration is doing. How is that helping the American people? So you're going to have two classes of people in this country. It ain't going to be rich and poor. It's going to be Republican and Democrat. All you third-party things, you might as well forget it. You ain't going to get in. But the paper shows you nothing like that. I think they ought to just leave. I know that's what they want to do. They went from their big place they had in New London to taking over a building on State Street by the City Hall that is a fraction of the size. And they don't even publish their paper in New London anymore. They shipped that off to Rhode Island. So, what's the sense of even having the friggin' paper? And it costs some money for that paper. And for what? How many of you get the Day paper and you look through it and that's it? And it's nothing. You go online, you can look at the paper, but it's this, nothing ever, hardly anything ever pop. I'll give you an idea of what they think should be on the front page. The paper the other day had a headline that said, "Naked but never afraid to model." And they show a man, not all of them, that is sitting there having his picture painted, not painted, but drawn. It's like, when you have a bunch of people in a class and they're drawing a human body. Why is that on the front page? How many people do this for a living? So you give them a full spot on the page. What about the fact that it looks like there's going to be a ceasefire in the Middle East between Israel and Iran? Don't you think that should be on the front page? Now, if it was Biden that was creating all this good stuff, don't you think it would be on the front page? You bet your ass you would. It would be there, because that's the kind of paper they are. I used to deliver papers when I was real young in high school, but when I started high school. 50 people a day, 5:30 in the morning. And you got something in the paper, and it wasn't real expensive. But now, well, I guess that's, I don't know. So Trump has put the kibosh on the windmills, which I think he should have. One, all this stuff for the windmills is coming from China. Second, they're taking up valuable land for what? If you have, I was watching this thing on TV about tornado, and it was showing a tornado go through this area that had windmills, and not one blade on those windmills was turning, and that was with a tornado. So it's fake. These things, they're not. You can't break them down. They don't break down in the what's the word I want? They're not biodegradable. They're huge. If you ever get a chance to watch a picture of a truck pulling one of them windmills, just the blade, they're big. And that's why they came in by barge in New London, probably, because they would have never made it on the New London roads or the highway. But instead of doing that, windmill, find other ways that are safe. There's one country's using waves from the ocean. They put which I don't know if this is a good deal either, but they put it in the ocean, these like windmill type things in the ocean that, spin with the current, which sounds pretty good, and plus it's lower on the ground. But these windmills out in the ocean are destroying a lot of wildlife. And where's PETA? Is it even still together, PETA? I don't know. But they're not doing nothing. They're not arguing about it. And it's just got to stop. And the same thing with solar panels, mostly from China. And all right, I saw this other picture of the windmills. I mean, the solar panels. They were in a hailstorm, and they were all destroyed. So how much more is that going to cost? They talk about some of these rich people buying the farmland. They talk about China buying the farmland, and they're going to put solar panels on it. They're not even dependable. Look, Spain, not that long ago, lost all their power because there was a glitch in the system. The panels failed, and for days, they were in darkness, the whole country. Doesn't anybody in the government ever check, I say past governments, ever check to see the downside of stuff? I know New London doesn't ever do that. They give out stuff and they go, oh, hooray, hooray, we got this, we got this. Well, what happens that time? Well, that's a good problem to have. Yeah. That's what I got from the mayor when I asked him about the traffic. Oh, that's a good problem to have. Well, is it? All right. So the Coast Guard is going to remove all references to climate change from its curriculum. Look, folks, no matter how much money you spend on climate change, you're not going to change anything. Not a thing. There's going to come a time when the Earth is just going to destroy. And it's going to be because the sun gets bigger and bigger. That might be a billion years from now, but it's going to happen. So there's certain things I don't think we should be wasting money on. There's much better things. We should be spending more money on making people comfortable, taken care of. And each country's got to do it on their own. I mean, not completely on their own, but you can't have a country that has, I don't know, let's say has 3 billion people, and then you let in another almost half a billion people. Well, that country can't support that, and especially if they're not paying taxes and they're not working. I mean, we just can't do it. And other countries don't. Poland's the only country that will not allow immigrants into its country. And when you do let them in, look at the crap that happens. There's got to be a better way. you know, I try not to make it sound like I'm upset with all Democrats, because I know a lot of you probably have voter remorse, because there's no way Trump could have got over 80 million votes by just Republicans alone. But you're afraid to say anything. I mean, I don't know why. A lot of people are afraid to say anything. You're afraid to, you know, if you say anything good about the Republicans or the Trump administration, oh, they're going to beat me up, or they're going to do this to me, or do this to my property, whatever. Well, you know why they do that? Because they know they can get away with it. That's all going to change. And it needs to change. This was some other stuff from the U.S. aid expenses. I know you probably all heard this before, but I want to refresh your memory. $50 million to fund condoms in Gaza. Well, that's one way not to have any more kids and not increase your population. And why should we pay for that? Well, maybe it's because we pay for it now in this country. There's some agencies or whatever you can get free condoms. And that's another whole story. I'll get to that. $1.5 million in advance of DEI in Siberia's workplace. Are you kidding? You think they care about DEI in Serbia? I don't think so. So where's that money really going? Another one, $70,000 for the production of a DEI musical in Ireland. Gee, I wonder how many vets that could have helped. $47,000 on transgender opera in Colombia. You know, I know these people didn't ever expect this to come out in public, but you got a new sheriff in town, and he's got some good deputies, and he's trying to make it a better place. He's trying to make it so, you know, we're sufficient. Let's see, $37 million for the World Health Organization. I don't know about that one. Maybe it's for a good cause. I'd like to know how much other countries are putting into this, because they weren't putting much into, what was that one in? Oh well, $16 million in funding for institutional contractors in Gender Development Office. $4 million for funding for the Center of Climate Positive Development. You know, we're wasting a ton of freaking money on this climate change stuff and all that. You're not going to change anything in this country. And if you think you are, you're doing it wrong. You want to change stuff in this country, make it more climate change? Stop doing the hemp thing. Leave the freaking trees alone. We need them trees to breathe clean air. They don't tell you that, though, do they? And now, instead of building homes, I know it might cost a little more, it shouldn't, because every time there's something new comes out, they charge you an arm and a leg, and there's no reason for it. Let's stop using lumber for building houses. Use the steel. I know at Foxwoods when I was working there, a lot of the stuff that was built in the hotel, they were using steel studs. And to me, that would sound like especially if you're in an earthquake zone, I think I'd rather have my house be steel than wood. But I know it's stuff we've been doing forever, but it's time to change. You know, we need the trees. We need a lot of things that we're destroying and trying to use it as, well, this is better for us. I didn't vote for you to, all right, enough of that. So, all right, all you seafood lovers, you lobster lovers, you people that love to kill them little things. You know, they're not doing nothing to you, but you got to have lobster. Why? What benefit is it to eating lobster? Why do you have to kill lobsters to eat lobster? There's no reason to eat lobster. Oh, because I like it. Well, you know, at one time, lobsters was the cheapest thing you could buy. Actually, in Maine, they used to feed their prisoners in Maine with just lobsters because there was so many. Now there's not. Why? So this is what's happening. And this is going to happen with a lot of our food. All you people that don't want to kill animals, don't want to kill cows or whatever, and I kind of agree with you, but I don't have the answer for it, except for maybe this, what I'm about to tell you. Lab-grown seafood is hidden restaurants' menus Would you eat it? It's big in Florida. They're having a problem in Florida because all the lobster meat that you're buying or you're eating, they're claiming now is coming from a lab. Pretty soon, that's what it's all going to be. So if that was to happen, what do we do with all the animals that we eat now? What do you do with the cows? You got to sterilize them, because if you don't, well, then more and more cows are going to be born, and you're going to have an overpopulation of that, and then what? You're going to have to kill them. So wouldn't it be better to find a way to try to limit the amount of these animals and not kill them? And just eat lab-grown meat. You don't even know it's lab-grown meat when you eat it. If somebody didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. And how are they making that meat? Supposedly, I forget the term for it. They're using something in the animals to produce this lab, some kind of, I don't know. But I don't know, lab meat is something of the future. Especially if we keep killing them off like we are. So you've all seen on the news about alligator Alcatraz. Again, I was reading a post someone put on Facebook that was saying and putting people in there, and if they try to escape, they'll get eaten because there's no fences. They're telling them, look, you want to escape, but you're going to have to go through the swamp. But how could they do that to other human beings? You don't listen to the whole story. You listen to other news stations that ain't telling you the story. They want you to think that they're going to put people there that don't belong there, and once in a while that will happen. Happens in everything. But they're doing it on purpose because they want to try to show you that this is a bad thing. Now, if you're the parent of someone that got killed by an illegal, you ain't going to think it's a bad thing. And, again, you're fighting like hell to keep these people, especially if they deserve it. Now, I know some people are going to get caught up in this whole thing, and that will be straightened out. But to defend sending people out of our country that have committed crimes against the people in our country, that should be a no-brainer. For Democrats that have been elected to office that think that that's the only thing they got to fight for is criminals and stuff from other countries, you need to be gone. You need to be impeached or whatever the hell they do with you guys, because it's not helping us. It's keeping Americans, true Americans that are citizens. A lot of them are in the same position that these people that came to this country were in their own country. And the fact when they get here, they start turning our country into their country. So why the hell did you leave to begin with? Why don't you grow some cojones and put an army together and take care of the government that's making you live like this? No, just come here instead. Because the Democrats want as many illegals during the 4 years of Biden with the way of trying to find a way to make them automatically citizens. And when they're automatically citizens, they're going to have the right to vote. And of course, they're going to be grateful to Biden and the Democrats. But that don't help anybody but the Democratic Party. You guys got to call your congressmen, your senators, whoever, and just let them know if they don't change or don't stick up for something or vote against something that's going to help more people than it's going to hurt. Because there's no sure way of producing a bill where someone's not going to be happy. It ain't going to happen. It doesn't happen in a human race. So the Alcatraz thing, I thought that was pretty clever, because you know how much it costs, and this is not for people to be there forever. This is just a stopover place to house them while we're getting them out of the country, and why some of these federal judges that are Democratic elected are trying to put a kibosh on this. It's a no-brainer. Really? Not according to that. I guess my time's almost up, folks. So if you get to see this on YouTube, it will be on YouTube. And like I said, you can call in next week or something. next week when I come, I'll put my my email on so you could send me a message if you want about something I might have talked about today. And, okay, so I got 5 minutes maybe. Let's see, what can I get to you? Oh, what do you think about the Supreme Court appeal to end limits on party spending in federal elections? You realize that we could have the greatest president outside besides Trump, and if they're not filthy rich, you'll never know. There's got to be some way to get around that. And I thought maybe somebody out there that sees this tonight, if you do, I think it used to be where you were only allowed to spend so much money in your election. People could only donate so much money. And now it's like any company or wants a favor or whatever can donate as much money as they want. And that's how you win an election now, is whoever has the best, what do they call it, war chest. So next week, I'm looking for some religious people as far as priests or ministers or something like that. I'd like to do a show sometime with a couple people from different religions. I have a lot of questions about religion. And also, if you have a gripe or you have something you want to talk about, or if just send me an email if you can. Actually, it's on the screen right now, the email address. And let me know, and if we can set something up where you can come on the show with me and you can talk about what's bothering you or, you know, whatever you may have an issue with. And it's an hour-long show. It's in Groton. Please contact me. And it will be on YouTube. And I don't know what else to say, except thank you for tuning in. And thank you for tuning in later tonight. And even more thank you when you call in. Other than that, I don't know, Drew, am I done? I think I'm done. Folks, we've got to learn to work together. We really do. Don't, you know, if you watch the media on TV, the media is trying to get us to hate each other. Some government administrations that we've had in office were trying to get us to hate each other. Democratic Party is trying to get us to hate each other. And I can, whenever you see something bad happen on TV, it's usually always a black person that's the villain in the picture. Why? Because they're trying to get whites to hate blacks, and they're trying to get blacks to hate whites. And there's no reason for that. You know, if you look, some scientists say we all came from Africa, so that must mean we're all blood. Now, why can't you guys, you know, why can't the two races grab that and work from that, being all blood? We're all the same. And one more thing. See the color of this can? That's white. See the color of his skin? That's not white. That's kind of tan, Italian tan is what it is. So how come, it's just ridiculous, all right? A lot of this stuff that's happening now, it started with friggin' Obama. I bet my last dollar on it. And he's turned out to be a chump. Biden, he don't even know what planet he's on. Trump is doing what he wanted to do that he couldn't do in the first term because of the Democrats. He's gonna do it now. It may not all be perfect, but it's gonna be a hell of a lot better than what we had the last 4 years, and it's gonna be a hell of a lot better than we had with Obama for 8 years. You know, Obama was from Chicago, you know that. In the time that he was president for 8 years, he only mentioned the violence in Chicago maybe 2 or 3 times. He did absolutely nothing for Chicago, and that's where he was from. And all you people in Chicago, not all you people, a lot of you people in Chicago voted for him, and not because of the man. Let's be honest here. You voted for him because he was black. And you know the funny part? He wasn't even completely black. He's half black and half white. I used to get called mulatto a lot when I was a kid because of my tan. Never bothered me. All right, I'm trying to think of a good note to end on, and you know what? I can't think of anything right now. Just take care of yourselves, everybody, and don't believe everything you see or read. Look, watch all news channels. I try to watch them all, and a lot of times when something I think is important is on Fox that is concerning the whole country, if it's anything to do with Trump, I won't see it on CNN or MSNBC or any of them other stations. So they're not helping you. Don't be foolish. God gave you common sense. Gave us all common sense. And 90% of you are losing your common sense. And with that, I say good night.